Joining us now is Amar Patnaik ji, and Amar Patnaik ji, namaste. It's once again we're talking about data protection. The last time we spoke, it was around personal data. Now it is data protection bill. So, and more than about 140 hours of discourse and about 200 amendments that have been suggested, if I remember correctly. So the conversation has come a long way. Can you take us through the entire process and how it has evolved so far?
You see, the bill was introduced in later part of December 2019, and after the very few initial interactions with the ministry and a few witnesses whom we had invited, then the corona struck us, and unfortunately, Meenakshi ji also got down with corona. So till about July, we couldn't really work much. But after July, despite the wave being there and none of us having been vaccinated, we went on, and I give full credit to all the committee members. We are having meetings almost every week from July 2020 onwards. And as you would have seen, I think there are 78 or 79 sessions that we have had.
Yeah.
A lot of thought has gone into this bill in all its aspects. We have, in fact, done clause by clause an analysis of the bill which was introduced. And what you see today is actually a thought which is not just of the members, but elaborate discussions with academia, with lawyers groups, with activist groups, with the people who are affected. That is, let's say, in case of the big tech, the Amazons, the Facebooks, the Twitters. So I think the consultation in this process has been really elaborate. It was a conscious decision which was taken, and after wide consultation. It remains to be seen. This is the view of the committee, which will finally be coming up. It is, of course, to the House to decide whether they would like to have a separate or they would like to have combined as it is. Mind you, the House had the bill which was introduced in the House was just the personal data. So
Okay.
the call has to be taken by the House.
I want to understand with the contentious clauses. Clause number 57 is a issue of contention. Clause number 35 is a cause. There are a few MPs who have already written their notes of dissent. We are given to understand that you were also somewhere sitting on the fence.
There are two aspects there. One, that it becomes entirely a central government's decisions, not a central government, central body's decision, which will be overriding the interests or the events that arise in the states and in the districts. Mind you, it also includes both manual data as well as electronic data. And our final view will be given. We have time till tomorrow to take a call on this. There is discussions I'm having with people within my party as well as within the state government. And even you see the state governments of Karnataka and Maharashtra, when we visited them, they also made similar pitch for a state level data protection.
So, but that's not part of this architecture, is what you're saying. So, is that going to be a separate exercise? Would you want some assurance on that front, or can that be incorporated as part of this bill?
See, so that exercise has to be done by the government, and the changes, if it can be done easily, then that exercise they have to carry it out. I haven't myself carried it out, but I was having a look at the RTI Act. I was having a look at the Consumer Protection Act, the new act which was introduced last year, and in fact we in the Parliament approved it. So there it is a part of the act to have a state commission or a state authority. Here it is no such mention. So I do not think it could be just one or two provisions which could be changed. It might require a complete change in every section or critical sections of the bill. So that exercise has not been done by me. I am not aware if the government has done it.
As far as clause 35 is concerned, where we've seen Congress leaders like Jairam Ramesh and also Trinamool Congress leaders like Derek O'Brien, Mahua Maitra, they've already expressed their dissent. Manish Tiwari has also said that that cannot be unbridled freedom that can be given to central agencies. to in terms of access of data and what they can do and how they can act. There have to be some checks and balances that have to be put. So what's the larger view, and finally what has been arrived at?
See, ultimately, I think we have to remember that this bill has come out of the Puttaswamy judgment. Puttaswamy judgment was a decision being taken on UIDAI Aadhaar. It was government data. It was a government data fiduciary, if you use the language of the Act. Now, Section 35 are reasonable restrictions, are in the nature of reasonable restrictions or exemptions that have been carved out in the Act. The law, as enunciated in the Puttaswamy judgment, is very clear that whatever restrictions you put in, it has to be proportionate, it has to be reasonable, it has to be fair, it should be serving the purpose, it should have a nexus with the purpose for which it has been brought out. So it has to be as narrowly defined as possible. Currently, the way the bill, the Section 35 is structured, it gives the impression that the Supreme Court's ordained, exemption criteria, that it should be prescribed by law, it should be proportionate, it should be legitimate, all these. This test actually will ultimately be done by the court itself, maybe in a judicial review if anybody approaches the court. But it would actually be, I'm sure, I have a feeling that it would actually go to the court. As it stands now, it appears okay to me, because I think some restrictions are necessary. But how narrowly to define it is most important.
The other aspect is about fines. It's about what should be decided, finally arrived at. Clause 57 was also a cause for concern.
No, the Clause 57, the way it was introduced initially in the bill, had very fixed percentages mentioned in the Act itself. And this kind of mention has been made in the EU GDPR as well, the European Union's data protection regulation. Since our bill has borrowed heavily from the EU GDPR, I think that was mentioned there. Currently, whatever version will finally get introduced, we'll have to wait and see as it comes in the Parliament. But there has been a thought that maybe it could be left to the central government to prescribe it from time to time. It makes sense also sometimes, because different category of offences and different category of the severity of the offence would also determine the severity of the penalty. And what is severe and what is not severe could actually be decided by the central government, and it will also depend. It will be contextual to the time also.
Are you inclined to support the bill?
I think it's not a question of me personally. The party will take a call once the bill is introduced in the House, because you have to remember, I think this is the most important thing which I want to highlight in this show, that the deliberations of any standing committee, parliamentary standing committee, or a joint parliamentary committee such as this should be non-partisan or bipartisan. Meaning, there's a discussion is basically not taken on party lines. The support or opposition to the bill would come only when it gets introduced in the House. And that is how it becomes content rich, it becomes, it goes above the party lines, and a better version of a bill or an ordinance which is meant to be a bill comes to the House. And the House then takes a position. There are just not 2 provisions in the bill, there are 98 provisions and 99 provisions. And a lot of it has had tremendous amount of bipartisan support within the committee itself.